Today we're going to cover a really practical and effective way of learning our way around the fretboard. We're going to take some really simple phrases and move them through 5 different positions. This is a great way to maximize your vocabulary and get started covering the entire neck of the guitar. Let's get into it. So long before I ever learned any scale patterns or arpeggio shapes, I basically just learned licks by ear off of tapes and CDs. And when I first started playing in bands as a teenager, I had a pretty limited vocabulary. But what I found is I could maximize that vocabulary by moving these simple licks and ideas around the fretboard in different positions, on different string sets, and in different octaves. And this helped me play in a more fluid way and connect things up the fretboard. It also helped me a lot when I did eventually learn things like the cage system and scale patterns and arpeggio shapes up the neck. But today I want to take you back to the beginning and walk you through this simple approach. This is great if you're just starting out and trying to learn your way around the fretboard, or if you've been playing for a while and know your scale and arpeggio patterns but struggle with turning them into musical phrases. So to start out, we're going to play a very typical major blues phrase. Now, this phrase is derived from the major pentatonic scale, and we're going to move it through the 5 positions of the cage system. But none of that is really important right now. All we're going to do is focus on the sound of this phrase and learn how to move it around to 5 different spots on the fretboard. So the lick goes like this. It starts on a G, moves up to B, then D, E, and finally G. Right, so in order to play this lick around the fretboard, all we really have to know is where to find our root note, the note G, all over the fretboard. So we've got G's all over the place, right? And we can start this lick on any of them. So we can do it here. We can start it down here. We can start it here. We can start it here. Or we can start it here. So right away you can see how you could take any simple lick, any simple phrase or idea, and really get the most out of it by moving it around the fretboard. So I can cover the whole neck with that one simple idea. So now I'm going to play this along to the backing track, just this one simple phrase moving through 5 different positions, so you can hear it in context against a chord with a groove. So one of the great things about moving these simple phrases around is that each one of these positions is going to set you up in a different place on the neck. And that's going to lead you to play different things as you're connecting licks together in your solos. It may also break you out of your comfort zone and force you to find your way around different parts of the fretboard that you may be less familiar with. So let's combine 2 licks together and let's move that around through the 5 positions. So we played a major pentatonic lick to start. Now let's tie that together with a minor pentatonic lick. So our 2 licks played together. Now we can move that up through the 5 positions, and you'll find some different fingerings and maybe some different things that you're not as familiar with. course, our first one. Right, so you can see how, the fingerings change and the positions change. And some of these things can be inspiring if they're new to you. All right, so let's play these two licks together over the backing track so you can hear them in the context of a groove with an underlying chord. So this can be a really powerful tool if you already have some simple phrases in your vocabulary. Just understanding the concept that you can move these around to 5 different positions can be really eye-opening and can lead you to some cool things. I mean, simple phrases like right, you've got all these options of different ways you can play this, different fingerings, different positions. And as you start tying these things together into solos, knowing this stuff around the fretboard will kind of fill in the gaps and eliminate any holes you may have in your knowledge of the fretboard. So now I'm going to play a little solo. This is, again, just a 1-chord vamp in the key of G. But I'm going to play a little solo, and I'm going to play some similar repeating phrases and just move them around the fretboard so you can kind of hear this in action, how I would take the same phrase but move it around to different positions, and how it sounds different and it feels different, and it leads me into different ideas as I'm improvising. All right, guys, so hopefully this concept leads you down a path of experimentation to discover some new things and some new ways of playing things that you haven't yet explored. If you want the tabs and notation to all the examples in this lesson and this little backing track to practice along to, head over to my Patreon site. I've got all my links down in the description. Until next time, happy practicing and take care.